Today, I'm bringing you 5 early must-draft players for 2025 fantasy football. And the first player that I absolutely love going early, it is CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, when you pull up the ADP multi-site composite ADP on the 4for4 website, CeeDee Lamb currently at this current moment is going off the board as wide receiver 3, overall player 6. So you're getting him outside of the top 5 picks. And the reason that I absolutely love CeeDee Lamb is because we are one season removed from that ultimate wide receiver 1 points per game season that he had in 2023, where he put up 23.7 fantasy points per game. Last season was the wide receiver 7, which was kind of disappointing for most folks because he only put up 17.6 fantasy points per game. The part of this that I am so excited about for CeeDee Lamb is that if you actually look at the splits, because last year we saw, of course, Dak Prescott get hurt. If we look at the splits with him in split and out of split with Dak Prescott, we're talking about him over the last 2 seasons in those games that they played together, which they played in 25 games from 2023 and 2024. CeeDee Lamb put up 22.3 fantasy points per game in that split compared to out of the split when he's not playing with Dak Prescott goes to not terrible. It's not absolutely like crushing you, but it's also not league winning points per game where he put up 16.46. So if we can get a full season healthy with both Dak Prescott and with CeeDee Lamb, which I know is a little bit hard because they did just have an injury in camp to one of their offensive linemen, we got to assume that CeeDee Lamb could absolutely return on value because going ahead of guys, like I know you're going to be really excited for a Jamar Chase, but a Justin Jefferson who's currently going ahead of CeeDee Lamb, that's kind of baking in, do we know what J.J. McCarthy is for Justin Jefferson? I would say no. He could be absolutely electric, could produce really great things for Justin Jefferson, but I want to be taking a shot on CeeDee Lamb. He's my favorite player in that top 6 pick range that I'm absolutely must drafting. And as you kind of look at this Dallas Cowboy team, the part of the team is we're looking at the backfield, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams. Who's going to actually win that out? Is Jaden Blue going to have a role? We see George Pickens get brought in, but I think George Pickens and Jake Ferguson, those two players are really complementary to CeeDee Lamb. And honestly, this could be the best passing core that we've seen for the Dallas Cowboys since they had CeeDee, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup. I want to be taking a shot on CeeDee Lamb. I don't know how good this Dallas Cowboys defense is. It's not projected to be anything more than about halfway decent. And so for me, I would love to be taking a shot on CeeDee Lamb. He's my favorite must-draft player if I'm kind of in that top 6 pick range. And like I said, you don't have to take him above a Jamar Chase. You don't have to take him above a Bijan Robinson because he's falling a little bit lower. Now, this is talking through players in the early rounds, and I think it's really important to hit on your early round picks. My second player that you must be drafting early, it is going to be De'Von Achane, who currently in the composite ADP is going off the board as RB7, overall player 14. So you get him in the early part of the second round. Now, Mr. De'Von last season put up RB6 fantasy points per game, 17.6. But if you go over to the game splits in RotoViz to compare Mr. De'Von with Tua Tagovailoa and without Tua Tagovailoa over the last 2 seasons, the thing that you're going to see with De'Von is that in those in-game splits that they played in 22 games together, he put up 20 PPR fantasy points per game. In the out splits, in the 6 games that he played without him, he put up 8.63. So that's over the 2023 and 2024 season. Now, I think we both would say that De'Von was a little bit better in 2024. So even if you take that and only look at it from an in-game split for last season, you would see that De'Von put up 22.5 with Tua Tagovailoa, which would have been absolutely league winning if he was able to keep that up for a whole season. And in the 6 games without Tua Tagovailoa, only put up 8.63 fantasy points. So I know this take is kind of resting on the fact that we are hoping and assuming that Tua Tagovailoa can maintain some sort of healthy standard for the whole season, because that would be beneficial for our Tyreek Hill shares. That would be beneficial for Jalen Waddle. But specifically when it comes to De'Von, getting that early round running back, a guy who is sitting there that has overall RB1 upside. I mean, 22 fantasy points per game is overall RB1 or RB2 upside that you're then able to get in the second round as somebody that I want to be taking a shot on. Now, what do we see happen in this backfield? We see, of course, Raheem Mostert move on, who is kind of the thorn in De'Von Achane's side when it came mainly to touchdowns. Jalen Wright is probably in line to be the number 2 back in this backfield. I want to be taking a shot on De'Von Achane because if he can have a little bit more touchdown upside, I mean, even last year was pretty great from a touchdown standpoint, had 12 total touchdowns and 78 receptions. I think there's a world where we could be talking about De'Von getting into that, 80 reception mark, as well as getting into that 15, 16 total touchdown conversation if this offense can be efficient and if they can use him a little bit more than we've seen in previous seasons. Because even last year, he was only RB16 on a snap share basis with only playing 63.2% of the snaps. And I want to be kind of leaning into this Dolphins offense. I just think Mike McDaniel, we've seen the way that he's been able to kind of get so close but get so far because of the Tua injuries. I want to be taking a chance on De'Von Achane. And when you're kind of sitting in this early second round territory, I think you're getting a pretty good value in a De'Von Achane, which what's the difference really between like a De'Von and like a Jahmyr Gibbs, even a Saquon Barkley on a points per game basis? It's pretty similar. The only thing that's been holding De'Von Achane back has been that quarterback play. So I want to be taking a shot on De'Von Achane in that early part of the second. Now, my third must draft player in the second round is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when we look at Brian Thomas Jr., currently right now going off the board as wide receiver 8, overall player 15. Brian Thomas Jr. absolutely came on strong towards the end of the season. He put up 16.7 fantasy points per game, was the wide receiver 11 on the season. But if you take a look at his overall game log, the thing that you're going to notice about kind of the back half, we look at week 15, he put up 32 fantasy points, 28, 23, and 17.3. And we love to see when a rookie level wide receiver is able to absolutely put up some killer fantasy points at the end of the season. Now, what people are going to say about all of this is going to be saying, well, Caleb, we saw Trevor Lawrence go down with an injury. Mac Jones was the one that was throwing Brian Thomas Jr. the ball. So if you look at the splits with Brian Thomas Jr. when he was playing with Trevor Lawrence, was only putting up 14.87 fantasy points per game. And out of split with Mac Jones, he's putting up 19.3. Why are you so confident that Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to get him the ball, plus the fact that Travis Hunter is now involved? And the thing that I'm going to say to this is when Brian Thomas Jr. was absolutely erupting, we saw Christian Kirk and we saw Evan Ingram both out. And so the thing that I want to add into is we're kind of basing this take on the fact that we assume Travis Hunter is going to be an alpha. Who else besides Travis Hunter do we really have to worry about in this passing attack? Brenton Strange showed some good things, nothing crazy to me. So when I'm looking at it, I'm saying even if Brian Thomas Jr. can get a 28, 30%, target share next season, which I don't think is outside of the realm of possibilities, considering the fact that last year he had a 25.5% target share. And even if Travis Hunter were somehow to get a 25 or 26% target share, we're still only talking about 50% of the offense, which I think could easily be funneled through those two guys. My fourth must draft player in early round fantasy football, it is going to be Brock Bowers for the Las Vegas Raiders. And Brock Bowers, I understand taking an early level tight end can be risky. But Brock Bowers is not your average typical early round tight end, with a guy who put up 153 targets, broke the rookie receiving record, not as a wide receiver, but as a tight end with 112 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 5 total receiving touchdowns. What did this team do this offseason? They added no major target competition. They added in Chip Kelly, they added in Pete Carroll, and they brought in Geno Smith to be the quarterback for the Raiders. Now, some people are going to argue that Geno Smith might not be that much of an upgrade over an Aidan O'Connell. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am taking Geno Smith over Aidan O'Connell. If anyone's going to debate me in the comments, let me know down below. Because I think if we're talking 153 to 160 targets for Brock Bowers, I think that's in the range of outcomes again in year 2. And I think being able to get that overall value in your tight end spot is going to be super juicy. Not only are you getting that wins over a replacement for Brock Bowers, but I think you're getting like a wide receiver 1 capable producer, because if he were to get more than 5 receiving touchdowns, which let's be honest, for a tight end is kind of low, there's a chance that we talk about him being in that 9 to 10 category. I think we're talking about Brock Bowers being an absolute steal in the second round. Like we said, who is he competing with targets wise in this offense? I mean, you got the ghost of Michael Mayer next to him at the tight end position. They draft Jack Besh in the second round of the draft. You still got Jacoby Myers. I don't know. Deontay Thornton they drafted as well. I just think Brock Bowers is the clear one. They're going to rely on Ashton Genty, ground and pound, and then the play action to Brock Bowers in the short and intermediate routes. And already from camp, we've heard reports that Brock Bowers has been essentially unguardable. Geno Smith said, if I could throw him the ball every time, I'm paraphrasing what he's saying, I would. And I think Brock Bowers is just that guy. He is that good. So, and my fifth and final must-draft early round player, it's going to be Breece Hall, who's going in the third round of your drafts, going at RB13, overall player 35. And Breece, news of a contract extension not getting done kind of came out. And there was just like a report where he's like, I know that this isn't going to happen this season. And after last season, I'm not surprised that the Jets necessarily weren't looking to give Breece Hall the big payday. But as much as people in 2024 were saying that it was a down year for Breece Hall, he still put up 15.1 fantasy points, which was the RB17. We weren't drafting him. We were drafting him as a top 5, top 6 running back last offseason. But let's not say that, 2023, he put up RB6 on a points per game basis numbers, and then RB17 in his third season. It's nothing too shabby. But I think the upside comes from the fact that we now know Aaron Glenn is coming into town. And with Aaron Glenn coming into town, he's bringing some of that Detroit Lions swagger into the building. And I know the worry is that the swagger of we're going to run the ball into the ground is also accompanying the fact that maybe Breece Hall isn't the true alpha RB1. They have Braylon Allen. They have Isaiah Davis. I am here to say that Breece Hall is the most explosive running back still in this backfield. Let's not forget his prospect profile. He came in running a 4.39 40-yard dash, which was in the absolute 97th percentile with him being 5'11 and 217. Absolutely incredible numbers for Breece Hall. So he's your prototypical size, and he's got absolutely elite level athleticism. We did see that ACL tear that happened in 2022, but now last season was like kind of year one off of it. Now this is absolutely 2 years removed, which if anybody follows any sort of Twitter doctor, any ex-doctor on X, they will always say year 2 off an ACL is when that player starts to feel back to themselves. And add in the fact that we have Justin Fields, who people are going to say doesn't like to check the ball down. I think that's absolutely false. If you look at Justin Fields' whole career, his running backs that have been next to him have absolutely produced in that receiving game. For a running back who in 2023, which was his RB6 total season, had 76 receptions. So I think there's elite level receiving upside, especially when you consider the fact that there's only Garrett Wilson out there and all of these other kind of maybes. So I think it's going to be the Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall show like we were planning for it to be last year with Aaron Rodgers. That didn't necessarily happen, but I'm not fully relying on Justin Fields helping take this step, but I don't know how good the Jets are going to be if they're going to be playing from behind. I think that benefits Breece Hall. If they're playing from ahead, I think that benefits Breece Hall. And so I want to be taking him currently at this overall ADP, but I do like the potential that he has this season. And when you're in the back end of the third, that's the perfect shot to fully pull the trigger on Breece Hall. But if you like fantasy football, we actually have a ton more tools on the 4for4 website. So if you go over to 4for4, which 97% of people that use 4for4 last season actually made their playoffs. And so we want to make sure that you get into your playoffs and give you a chance to win that ultimate glory, win that fantasy football championship. Like I said, guys, we are on the way to 20,000 subscribers on the channel. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.